Welcome back, cycling listeners. Warning, warning. This episode's opening skit contains spoilers for Game of Thrones series finale. If you want to skip this, jump to the 2-minute mark. In 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Jeremy, can you fix the brakes on my bike? And what do you have in your garage?
Greg, I need you.
For what?
No, listen. I invented time travel. Listen carefully.
No. What?
I need you to go back to September 17th, 2015.
No, but Jeremy, can you just fix the brakes on my bike?
Yes, but first, Greg, I need you to stop me from eating chamois butter.
What's the worst that could happen?
Just get on the pad. Get on the pad.
The shiny thing?
Yes, the big glowing pad.
All right, fine. Who's president of the United States?
The beloved Kim Kardashian and
No,
Kanye.
Stop. But send me back.
Did you stop the chamois?
No, send me
The
back.
chamois butter. So, Greg, the chamois butter.
Hold on. Who won the Game of Thrones?
Oh, that was good. Danny the Breaker Chains kills everybody. And then Bran's got a really awesome story. He's king.
That makes no sense. You know what? I'll be right back. Jeremy, what's the biggest bike shop in Chicago?
Crank Revolution. We've got like 70 riders every single week on Wednesdays.
What? On a Wednesday, 70 riders? That's insane.
Growing every week.
Look, don't send me back. This is the best we're going to get.
I can't stop it, Greg.
Look, this is what we got.
That's good.
Oh, God. Jeremy, please tell me we still have a bike shop. Jeremy, I can look. Oh!
Just stop the chamois butter, Greg.
If I stop the chamois butter, there's no Crank Revolution. If there's no Crank Revolution,
Greg,
and
we're just a podcast.
No, we are gonna. You know what, Jeremy? I've sent him back to the past. I got this. This is Greg. This week on Crank Revolution, we have Velo Vocabulary, Tales of Triumph and Woe, and Velo Minamati. Velo Numati.
The rules of the Voluminati.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Welcome now to the Crank Revolution podcast, your source for cycling shenanigans. Listen now to our hosts, the purveyors of pedals, as we teach you more about cycling every single episode. So sit right back, pop a cold one, and enjoy our show. And welcome back to the Crank Revolution Cycling podcast. It is another week and another time and more tales.
Wait, the world didn't end?
No, it didn't end.
All right.
I heard that.
This is going really well.
So in studio, not only do we have myself, Jeremy, we have Chris Merck, and Greg. We also have Mike Nichols, sponsored rider of Crank Revolution Bike Shop.
Happy to be here.
Oh, we're happy to have you.
So yes, today we're going to discuss the rules of cycling.
But not snobby at all.
Well, yeah. So we're just gonna we're gonna put a big caveat here. The rules
COA up
as
front.
they were created. So it's the Voluminati was a bike blog that's been around for years, and they posted a list of rules.
95 of them.
95 of them. I've seen addendums that added even more than that. It's all in good fun. Nothing here should be taken too seriously. There are rules that I would say take themselves too seriously. Basically, it's just a guideline of things that cycling folks talk about. One of the rules that's one of my favorites that I've brought up a number of times, and it's a fair check on if someone's ever read this bike blog or heard of the bike rules, is rule number 13. Anytime you draw a race number or a bib that's number 13, anything that ends in 13, you run it upside down.
Hold on. Can you re-say that, but like make it sound super old English?
No, I can't. Jeremy can.
Like imagine like an old like Lutheran church, like your guy at the pulpit's trying to say it.
Like
Try it as a
Martin Luther?
pirate, Greg. Try it
If
as a
thou
pirate.
draweth number 13, turn it upside down.
I pretty much go to the races just to see the plethora of insane socks.
The good news about socks, rule 28, they can be any color you'd like.
They can. And so, yeah, I mean,
Colorblind.
well, no,
Sucks
because
to be you.
they can still be
There
whatever color. You just can't see what color it is.
But they have to match something, don't they?
No, not socks.
Well,
You're talking about kits.
yeah,
because
kit,
it's the
match
rules,
kit.
yes, they
Yeah.
would like it to match at some point. But if you're anything like me, no. No, they don't.
Well, what I find funny is how much personality is expressed through socks. I've seen zombie socks. I've seen like every type
Pizza
of sock.
socks.
Yeah.
There are entire sock stores nowadays that sell nothing
that's
but
true,
socks
yeah.
in every variety that you can think of.
And in some airports. I frequent a few
Okay,
of those.
I mean,
I'll pay $15 for a pair of
That's
socks.
a great way to waste time in an airport is to look at every sock that they have.
Thank for defeat. It has
Love
like
Defeat.
some of the the best socks.
Yes, because
out
when
there.
I'm traveling to see the world and the wonderful sights of nature, I want to hang out in a sock company.
Well, I mean,
well,
that's
if you
just a
get
side
socks,
note.
why not?
But so to bring it back to the rules of cycling, and actually, if you just Google the rules of cycling, the Voluminati
First
blog
hit
is the first one to pop up. It's a fun to just kind of read through. Don't take it too seriously. Also, I think the things that I want people to kind of focus on with this is to, one, guide the uninitiated. It's rule number 3, to kind of bring people along. Don't be aggressive about it. Don't be mean. Don't tell you're wrong. You don't just say that. Work them into
TC.
You're
Guide them.
wrong.
Yeah.
Guide them.
Guide.
Well,
Thus,
only
rule
if they're
5.
willing, though, because there's nothing worse on a group ride than the guy that just walks up and tries to explain the world
Well,
to you and you
that's
don't.
why you just
Oh, yeah.
like as we discussed with rule number 13, you just say, "Hey, man, this is a thing," and you can just say, "Hey, go Google this, take a look at it,
you
read
can
through it."
you can giggle about it.
Yeah,
But
it's cheeky. It's
what,
fun.
Cheeky.
Cheeky.
What Mike was saying though is that all boils down to rule number 5.
It kind of
And
does.
we-
Rule number
that-
5 is probably the one that's going to be the biggest broken rule because it might be the hardest rule.
To find out what that is, let's cut over to Villa Vocabulary. Join us now as we expand your cycling nomenclature. Let's go to the keeper of cognition, the prophet of proficiency, the peddler of phraseology. Join us now with Professor Greg for Velo Vocabulary.
Yes, this is Greg. I am your professor of vocabulary of everything Velo. This week I've got 2 more words for you to listen in on, and I hope we're going to get some great definitions at the local tea party of conversation.
Welcome to my nightmare. We are back with the Princess Tea Party once again.
Coffee! Iced coffee.
Good, we got 2 new words today. You ready for the words?
Yeah!
All right, so the first word,
No.
half wheel. What do you think half wheeling is?
Wait, a unicycle is like a bike but with one wheel.
Basically, it's 2 wheels and then it's 1, so it's half.
Yes,
That's pretty good.
told you.
Yeah.
Is it half wheeling? It's like when you do like a wheelie and then you only have half of your wheel because it broke off.
So it would be half wheeling. We are going to go on to the next one. Cycling has many rules. There is a specific rule, and it's called rule number 5. What do you think rule number 5 is?
Oh, I know.
Okay.
When you ride on your head.
Oh, so don't crack your head open. Don't ride on your head.
Rule number 5. Let's see. Maybe there's like a list of rules, and that's one of the less important ones. Said
No
no
riding-
riding with one leg or standing on a bike or something.
Oh.
Maybe like the rule book of bike-ness riding.
So that was the
Yeah.
Princess Tea Party. We will see you
I'm
next
signing
time.
off. Goodbye.
Half-wheeling, a very sensitive subject depending on the group ride that you're in. Half-wheeling occurs when the front wheel of the rear rider starts overlapping the rider that's in front of them. What this does is it puts the rider in the front in a position to possibly knock over the rider behind them by suddenly changing direction. This makes things a lot worse, especially because if the rider behind them has a narrow enough wheel and they get in between the derailleur and someone's wheel, they could end up taking out someone's derailleur hanger and causing the front guy not just to crash, but also to damage their frame, their derailleur, and their wheels. Do yourself a favor, don't half-wheel. Yeah, I know, Crank Revolution HR. I have to define what harden the F up means. But you really don't need to be looking over me as I define what it means. Harden the heck up means that you're having a bad day, or you're going up a hard hill, or you're tired, you just don't have it in you. Well, you know what? This isn't soccer. You're going to have to learn how to just find that extra strength you need to get through whatever it is you're going through, because you need to harden the heck up. Oh God, HR's already signing a pink slip. I gotta go, guys.
And now it's time to get back to the rules of the Illuminati.
Another one of my favorite rules is rule number 7. And it's something that I have for years cultivated my tan lines.
Oh, you need to.
Oh,
you need
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tan lines on my legs have not gone away. Every spring, as shorts come out and the tights go away, I'm able to reline up my tan lines to that same spot that I've had now for about 7 years.
So I'm newer to this than you are.
Yeah.
But each year, though, it's getting a little
Each year,
crisper.
you just dig
a
that
little-
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
I don't have any tattoos yet. This is my closest thing to a tattoo currently.
No tribal tattoos.
Not yet.
Yeah, that's the problem with me because I have, unfortunately, some jerseys have shorter sleeves. I have the
zebra stripes.
stripes.
Yeah.
That's
No.
better than Neapolitan. Sorry, Greg. I was gonna call you out on that. Like Greg called it the Neapolitan.
It just looks like ice cream. I think it's
So, yeah,
brilliant.
this season I went through like a major crisis because at the beginning of the season I tried out a new set of bibs. They had a longer hemline than the old bibs.
Oh.
It was like, oh, this is wrong.
Well, that's the funny thing is I think you should do that every year, though. Get a slightly longer bib every year so that your legs are just striped. You can count your age.
Well,
of
but then
cycling
you end
by
up
the
with
rings of
like
a
bloomers
tree.
by the end.
Well, bloomers. It was a
I'm
great
sorry.
idea.
Could you describe bloomers? I'm lost on bloomers,
Oh,
and I'm
bloomers.
old.
Pre 1900 women's underwear that is below the knee.
Below the knee, yeah.
Okay.
Are these pirate pantaloons?
knickers? That's I call
Knickers,
those
yeah.
knickers. Yeah.
No,
And
that would be
The men's.
outerwear pants.
Yes.
Oh.
I
This
hope
is
you enjoy a podcast where we explain old 19th century women's clothing terms.
But going into Rule 7, though, I work in an office. So I love it when people look at me when they come in from the weekend. They're like, oh, you rode your bike? I was like, how do you know? They can see a little bit of the tan line from the jersey that's creeping out from under the polo sleeve. And my hands are completely white because I wore gloves. But that forearm, it's dark.
I mean, my watch tan line is powerful.
Ooh,
good.
that's
Oh, yeah.
powerful.
That is-
Well, that's kind of the reason why I stopped wearing gloves for a while is because I didn't like that.
I don't
that
like-
tan line.
I've
and
actually got
I-
half a tan on my fingers.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, that's exactly it. Now, when you go further back in history with the gloves, they used to have little
The
holes.
crochet ones,
The
yeah.
crochet ones. Oh, those were terrible tan lines.
Terrible tan lines.
Because they
It's
would.
like Crocs. It was
Yeah.
it was the the modern equivalent is Crocs now. But those are some like fancy new Crocs that
Yeah,
don't
these
have
are
the
fancy new
traditional
Crocs, yeah.
Crocs
No,
pattern.
my favorite, though, is I shaved my head. I wore a helmet out all riding all day. I took it off and I'm like, oh, my head's dirty. I wash it off. It's not
doesn't
coming
wash
off.
off.
You got
No,
tiger
there's
stripes, my
diamonds
friend.
everywhere. Yeah.
Tiger stripes.
Welcome to my world.
But see, that's the thing is Scottish, Irish, and Welsh. There's no
cycling
sun, so I
No,
just
there is a
burn.
sun.
I don't
That's
get tan
actually
lines.
a-
No,
Rule.
the Scottish still have a sun.
Well, it's not the same sun.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Next week on how the solar system works for Jeremy, I don't get tan lines. It literally turns red.
Yes,
it
you-
peels
yeah, you-
off,
you
and
just
it's
cook.
terrible. I cook.
Mike brought up cycling caps. There is a rule about cycling caps.
When you can wear them, how long you can wear them.
Correct. And why you wear them.
Well, please tell us because
Yes.
we're all just
Dig in.
wonderful. in this
Well, that
conversation.
would specifically be Rule 22. Cycling caps or for cycling. Made to be worn under a helmet and never when not riding.
Oh, Merc.
I know. I
Guilty.
guilty all the time. I love my cycling caps.
Do not stray inside of a bar wearing kit or a cap.
Kit or cap.
Kit or cap?
I thought
Kit or
immediately
cap.
after the ride it was permissible, but there was like a limited time frame to.
This goes back into the rules are wibbly wobbly. There's certain things you have to take seriously, and there's other things that are just like relax a little
I would
bit.
say, Merc, you should take the cycling caps very seriously and just not wear them with your regular attire.
Well, it's fine, but the bedazzled
I-
jean jacket's just a little much.
Well, what
It's the unicorn that I love.
Oh,
it's
you
like when
can't
it-
begrudge the unicorn.
when it has the little shader in front? What do you call those things? The little
That'd be a
cap.
That would
on
be a
there.
brim.
Yeah, whatever.
A brim.
So the brim.
Brim
That's
visor.
what makes it a cap and
It's
not a
one
head.
thing when
skull
it's like
cap.
a mid brim. You know what's not good is like when it's got the little half-inch brim and you pop it up and yeah, you look like
Well,
you're 12 years
so-
old.
So that there's different kinds of cycling caps.
Thank you. Thank you,
and,
TC.
And it's a very functional cycling cap because based on the weather conditions, where the wind or rain's coming from, you can have it flipped up or down.
Now,
It's a
here's the
functional piece
thing,
of attire.
too. Is it flipped up or flipped down?
Depends on what
Depends
it,
if you're sponsored.
just
and
on
who's
which one,
underneath.
what it says on the bottom versus on the top.
Well,
You know,
then
which
for
message
me,
you want to
it's-
give out?
That
It's
is
got to
true.
be
There
on
you go.
top. If there's a message, it's got to be on top because mine's always flipped down.
I don't think that's a rule, but it's kind of one of those.
It's one of those pretentious things that gets
Yeah.
way into cycling as
Yeah.
as we are. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be something we could write as an addendum as a rule.
There you
This
go.
is true. Yeah, so anyone
We
wants to
can
take
be more pretentious than the Illuminati. That's awesome.
that. Just start
yeah.
cutting those rules in half and getting.
Well,
getting
let's
specific.
just agree on one rule, and this rule I think we all can be on the same page with. That is Rule 12. The correct number of bikes to own is N+1.
Yeah, that's where it came from. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so true.
Which
but
let's explain that real quick.
There is
N
an
plus one-
addendum to that one.
But N+1, for those that don't know, means N is the number of bikes you already have, plus 1 is the number of bikes you still need to purchase.
Now, if you're married, there's an addendum to it.
That's true.
Yes,
that's the
that's
S minus 1 calculation, which is S is the number of bikes that your spouse or significant other allows you to have in order to stay with them.
Yes.
It's about time we check in with everyone's favorite mechanic with TC and from the mechanic's mouth.
Hey guys, this is TC, and today's tech tip is on tire size. What is the proper tire size for you? The rules that we're going to lay out here are going to apply to road, mountain, gravel, cross. What you're looking for in that proper tire size is something that's not too narrow. Too narrow is going to have a very low volume of air and it's going to have least aerodynamic properties. When it's too wide, 1, you can run into frame clearance issues, and 2, it gets that much more cushion, much more soft ride, but not as efficient. Nowadays, the most common road tire size you're going to find is really like a 25, 26, depending on which manufacturer you're going with, up to a 28 in that range. When you step down to that 23, 20, 18, that's millimeters of width. And so that's how that tire is kind of measured. It's how it's made. When you get to those lower sizes, the volume of air reduces drastically. So your chance of getting a pinch flat really, really increases greatly. And that's one of the reasons why people have gone from that 23 size up to that larger 25. That larger volume of air gives you less of a chance of a pinch flat and a very smooth and efficient ride. Now, you do have rims that are nowadays made that are going to be more efficient at a 25 or a 26 millimeter. The design of that rim is meant to be aerodynamic around that larger tire, where the narrow tire creates a little more turbulence in that aerodynamic style. When you have that larger 28, 32 volume tire, you get a much smoother ride, but also a lot more rolling resistance because there's more rubber on the road.
So what about fat bikes? None of that included fat bikes.
Well, because fat bikes don't have proper tire sizes. They're just 4 or 5 inch.
All
They're
right,
just
just
motorcycle
just
tires.
it.
Yeah, they're motorcycle tires.
And it's as big as your frame can fit. Because some frames are only 4, some frames are 5 or smaller, but go 5 then.
So on the gravel side, Mike, where do you lean?
Usually about 40 mil.
Okay. That was oddly specific suddenly. I was expecting it to be a conversation.
Where I'll push back and say, for my gravel stuff, more 33. 33, 32. I run a narrower tire, and that's why I rode for Crusher. It's less contact patch, more efficient in my opinion.
Can we convert this to American style?
No.
Like, is
No.
it
Actually, no.
Gravel is the most American form of cycling. It's
So
I
actually,
know.
no. So road tires, gravel tires follow road measurements.
Yep.
Are done in millimeters.
And
Mountain bike
You're
tires are
shaking your
done in
heads.
inches.
travesty?
And one of the things that get really complicated with tires, when you start talking a 2.4 inch wide tire, is actually a different size than the 2.5 inch tire.
Well,
Because
yes,
fractional
Well, one's
sizes,
2.5.
No, fractional sizes. Go ahead.
fractional sizes are different than decimal sizes in bike tire sizing.
Really?
And this is going to be a whole nother segment because it gets way too in depth and it's me talking about way too many
I'm just
numbers.
going
Wait,
to
so-
call out Schwinn. Old Schwinn.
Wait,
So
can we
20
just talk about bicycle standards?
Yeah, they don't
all
exist.
of them. Yes.
So, but
Yeah.
actually, going back on the gravel, though, if you've got the bike handling skills, right, which you probably have a bit more than I do, it makes a big difference. If you've got
That's-
bike
well,
handling skills, you
wouldn't
can
you-
get by with a narrower tire.
Yeah, but wouldn't the terrain and the course call for a different width?
No, it's true.
It does. That really does depend on where you are in the country. Certain areas of the country, you do want to have different widths of tires, depending if it's crushed limestone or really packed in, and sometimes it can be very loose.
Well, when somebody has TC's bike handling skills, though, let's be fair. You've ridden on gravel on like 25 millimeter.
Yeah.
You might scale up to a 32, where one of us might scale to a 42.
Okay, so we're going to...
Well, meaning you gave me a great lecture one time about cutting in versus riding on top. And if you
Yes.
have the skills, you still might increase your size, but it'll be proportional to what you normally ride.
This is true, yeah. So I was once part of a bike race. Most of us were riding fat bikes. We had one guy who was riding basically his commuter bike with a 28 mil slick. And we're on an off-road course in January or February. It was just this nasty, muddy, sloppy mess.
Perfect racing
And
conditions.
so, yeah. And so all of us with the fat bike tires, we were just having a good old time and just throwing mud everywhere. And if you looked back at the course post-ride, you could see where his tires were every time because they were just digging in. But he would dig in through the soft stuff to find that hard, solid patch and be able to push and corner and handle off of that.
He had to be putting out so many watts.
He did, and he won. Yeah, he's
wow.
he's no
well,
slouch in
it's
bike
kind of like
racing.
the Natchez Trace thing, where the guy who won he was on like a single speed or something when we were there.
Fixie.
A fixie. So he did 444 miles through
Ew.
rolling hills on
Why?
a fixie.
Ew,
Why?
well, you know
Yeah,
what's
he set the
Sorry.
new national record.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Can I correct that? Fixed geared.
He fixed gear, yeah. But what's so great about
You hipster, Mike.
What you can, if we wanted
Go
to,
get some short socks.
if we wanted to, anytime someone's riding a fixed gear bike, you can take what is the gear inch that they're riding, and then figure out how many pedal strokes it took for them to complete something like the Natchez Trace 444. You can figure out exactly how many pedal strokes it took to cover that distance, because that bike does not move forward without him pedaling in a linear fashion.
How do you get downhills under control?
You
with
spin
a fixed
very
gear?
fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like 200
That's-
cadence.
Actually,
or-
I've heard from fixed gear riders, downhill is actually worse than uphill.
Worse than uphill.
Yeah.
I also heard from a guy that was doing the Tour de France on a fixed gear bike that on the descents, no, there was actually a guy who did it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
No, he
Not-
rode.
Hold on.
The route.
He
of
was
the
not
Tour de
in the
France.
race.
He
Did
wasn't
you know
in
he
the
wasn't
race.
in the
Hold on,
race.
hold
Right.
on.
The point is, wait.
Because it's no longer 1903.
Did this man just fill out his will and everything? He was just released from the hospital. The guy is really going to die, and he suddenly decided, I'm going to ride down the
Yeah,
Alps.
why not? Why not? But
on a
on
fixed
his
gear?
descents, at
Pyrenees.
times, it was something I guess bike messengers and other people do on fixed gears, where you hop the rear end to get your legs. So because if you try to instantly slow down or lock the rear wheel, it's a lot of pressure on your knees.
Yes.
So he'd pop the rear, lock his legs, and start skidding out to burn off speed.
I mean, that's the only way that he's going to be able to slow the pedals down, slow that rear wheel down to get any kind of control. But a lot of guys who are going to be riding something at that kind of a speed on a descent, you just got to Superman it.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Wait, Superman it.
So you take your feet off the pedals,
Oh, that
and
seems
you
really
put
dangerous.
your stomach on the saddle and get in a straight line and just
How do you brake?
I've
You
actually
don't
seen
brake
that done.
You don't break.
don't.
Oh, wow. That
Oh,
sounds like a great idea.
the brave guys are the ones that stick one arm out.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I haven't
Could
found
you
mine yet.
introduce yourself? Rule 19. Introduce yourself.
Ooh.
Ooh, nice.
But it doesn't just mean
Wait.
shaking hands and giving your first last
Oh,
name and
yeah.
social security number, does it?
I think that's also when you're on a trail or if you're on the road and you roll up behind somebody, you should make sure that they know that you're behind them.
Well, absolutely. But I also am a firm believer that you're never too pro not to wave. So if you see someone coming against traffic at you, give them a wave. Say hi
Be
to them.
friendly.
Acknowledge
Absolutely.
it.
I do mostly, but my poor bike handling skills mean on certain surfaces,
Means you
my
take out the
taking my
person you're
hand off
waving
is
at?
going to be the crap.
Oh, sometimes the wave amounts to nothing more than 2 fingers off the
I like
bar.
the nod, but the thing with the guy is when you nod at a guy, do you give the "Hey, what's up?" where you tilt the chin up, or do you give him the firm look down, John Wayne style, like, "Hey, man, I see you." I
I do the look down. It's more arrow.
think you're just chewing your handlebar, man, looking down at that stem.
Chewing the bars.
Some princesses taught me the name of that one.
Thank you, Jeremy. You listen to my segment, and I appreciate you for that. Introducing yourself is something that you should always do.
You should always do, especially I used to ride a lot on the Chicago lakefront, which is a great 18-mile trail from north side of Chicago to south side of Chicago. And I would have people that would occasionally hop on my wheel that I wasn't expecting. And if I was turning off early or slowing down or wanted to get water and I would hit the brakes, I didn't know that they were behind me.
Yeah.
Because they did not introduce themselves.
Well, introducing yourself isn't just literally telling them a name. Now, I do believe on group rides, you should walk around and actually
You should.
introduce
You should be
yourself.
friendly, yeah.
But especially when you roll up on a cyclist and they don't expect it.
But yeah, this rule is more focused around, for me, all that I need to hear is say, hey, I'm hopping on. If
Right.
you say that, I understand that you're going to hop on my wheel
Well,
and that there's now someone behind me.
how hard is it to say on your 6? Or if there's a headwind, on your 6!
Well, I actually believe you should ask permission to
Yes.
hop on a wheel. Not just, hey, I'm on your wheel. There's two things. Number one, you mentioned the hazard of you don't know that I'm there. But number two, you are creating the draft for someone else. So they are getting easier time from you. So it's common courtesy to be like, hey, I want to take it a little bit easier thanks to you.
I generally
bud."
do
Rule
the same thing.
67. Do your time in the wind. Or take your
Take your
pulls.
Yeah.
That's a hard one because I remember when I got into cycling, well, granted, I was carrying like a 15-pound bag of tools because I thought everyone carries a chain whip.
Jeremy.
Turns out you don't need those.
We've covered this.
No.
You had the tools to restart the Industrial Revolution anytime someone
Just
had
in
an
case.
issue.
Just in case. Just
No.
in case.
If you need to reform that steel tube, Jeremy's got you covered.
He had a forge.
But there is a rite of passage. Maybe the first couple times you come out, if you're not strong rider, where should they stay in the pace line?
So you stay back behind fourth wheel.
Right,
If your pace line's large enough. And so fourth wheel will be the fourth rider in line. But no, I do recommend that anyone, especially I love like flashing back to the first time that you were in a pack of more than 3 people taking a pull. Cuz you get so excited, you feel so pro. And then
Yeah.
and then you go from taking that pace at like 21 or 22 miles an hour to like 24, 25. and you just spend yourself instantly and then just fall back and then typically fall off the back. That's a lot of times how that goes.
Not off the back. You suddenly decide to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Not only that, you annoy the people that are in the pace line
who
with you.
are seasoned and used to keeping a constant pace.
Everyone
steady
thinks it's
pace line.
their moment to shine. The other thing to remember, though, is if you do have a pull on the front, what that means is you're creating the air draft. You're doing the hard work for everyone behind you. It is a rite of passage. It is something you should do to pay your time in, but there is a second side to that. Don't overspend yourself, because if you pull the pace, if everyone's rocking at 18, you gun it to 21 and you fall off, you didn't do anyone any favors.
Correct.
So don't get up front being like, I don't know what the right term is.
A tough individual.
Yes, it's
Rule
tough
number
individual.
Yeah, I'm going to follow rule number 5.
And what's that again?
HTFU.
Ooh.
Nice. Harden up.
Harden up.
Work
That's
harder.
the work appropriate.
No,
Mess it up.
that's Crank Revolution HR appropriate.
Yeah, Crank Revolution
definition.
HR appropriate.
I was just thinking to myself, what were the legal terms we're allowed to say for that word? But harden up. But the other thing is, though, don't try to impress other people. If the rule is you're pulling a line and trying to keep it even, don't go crazy.
Ride under control.
Don't go Rambo up front.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing, too, is if you drop off the pace a little bit on the front, most of the time the guys that are in the group are going to understand you're tired, you're new, and might actually pull you off the front quicker.
Yep.
I mean, for me, myself, and I always like to say, when I'm up front, I always start counting to 30, at 30 to 45. And once you get to those numbers, you know it's time for you to drop back. Whether or not how you're feeling otherwise, pull off, let someone else take a pull, just so that way you got the great boost out of that. Your heart rate's increased, you're getting the workout, but then you get to take a break.
So since you got me into cycling, TC, I do remember what it was feeling like the first time.
Yeah.
I was there. Yes, I had my bag of tools and everything else, but you're like, go for it, man. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, you feel the wind hit you in the face, but you realize you're dragging 20 other cyclists or 30 or 40 behind you. It isn't invigorating. It feels so great to have that
so
moment.
powerful.
It really does.
I never feel that way on the front. I never feel that way.
You know what?
I always
do.
become insecure. Oh, I'm going too slow. People behind me.
Well, we believe in you, Mike. You got this. Next time you take a pull, you're doing
And
great
since
job.
everyone loves you, you have social security.
And so, Mike, I'll say, so tomorrow, which is the next time we ride together, if you're taking a poll and I feel you're going too slow, I'll let you know.
Appreciate that.
Are you going
Guess
to
what?
bring the...
Because I would have done that anyways, and I never have done that to you. Okay, cool. We're good.
Fair.
Well, here, Mike, is there a different etiquette when it comes to that on gravel races or randonneurs?
Randonneurs, they're a pretty solo bunch. So they may ride in small packs.
They like to
here
talk
and there.
at a gas station every once in a while.
But they're not not a terribly, especially American randonneurs, not a terribly social bunch. They're all doing kind of their own thing.
So would you ever
Suffering in
jump
silence.
on a random person's wheel on an endurance ride, say a 1,000K?
I would if I catch them and I feel like I need a break. I would announce myself.
But at the same time, though, if you're in a small group and you're taking pulls, if you do fall off, at least be polite enough to yell gap, so that way the person who thinks that you're behind them knows that you've fallen off completely.
You know, Greg, what's always cool is when you've got a nice steady pace line going and then somebody comes up and you think they're going to take the pull and then they just drop the group. Never seen that happen.
Or they turn off. I think that's the thing.
I've never
though.
seen that happen, but I'm always
maybe
up
it was
front.
behind you.
Well, the one thing that I always found funny, and I used to do this to everyone because I think there's so many beginners out there, I'd go through Bussy Woods on my commute home. Some guy would be better than me, so I would just jump as fast as I can, pass him
Instantly, he's better than you. Yes, he is a better man than you. is
Well,
what you
okay, at the
just
time
said.
I was like 280 pounds.
Yeah, he's
so
still a better
Against
man
the
than you.
weekend
fit.
warrior.
He was fit, so I
Ah,
He
thought
was
okay.
a stronger cyclist
Oh,
in
hey,
terms of
there we
speed.
go. That's the
yes,
difference.
instead
Better way,
he's
yeah.
pulling 18-19, which is about the speed limit of that particular place.
Yeah, 'cause
but
it's 10 miles. I can't run there.
well, the funniest thing though is if you pass somebody and jump, when you start doing the leapfrogging, it's really embarrassing when you pass somebody and then they have to pass you.
Rule 89 applies to you, Jeremy, above all else.
Yes.
Pronounce it correctly.
No.
Yes.
No, I have mine. I'm making my own words. I have my own vocabulary.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
So is it a derailleur or derailleur?
Derailleur.
Okay.
What about that?
I feel so judged. All the
Is it-
eyes
What
are on
about
me.
that? What about that hydration tablet that I enjoy to drink?
Noon. I've
Thank
rehearsed
you.
for this one. You can't mess me. So
Someone
let's
is
get back
taking
to
lessons.
the Voluminity rules.
Yeah.
Voluminity rules.
So the
Yes, okay.
component
You had to
manufacturer,
pronounce that correctly.
the 4-letter component manufacturer that's based out of Chicago.
SRAM.
SRAM
SRAM?
or SRAM?
SRAM.
Actually, I will say I do add a lisp to my SRAM to
Wait,
accentuate that it's a. SRAM. It's not SRAM. You just said SRAM, and I can't stand it. It's
SRAM?
SRAM.
What'd I say?
SRAM.
Last time you said SRAM.
My favorite
I say
is
I say shram just because I know it's incorrect.
Because you know it frustrates people like me.
SRAM.
Exactly.
Sorry.
well, let's be fair. So just I've had people come in. Yo, I got SRAM on my bike.
Yep.
Yeah, SRAM, that's
that
another good one.
works.
Yeah, Jeremy, that's against
SRAM.
Rule 68.
We can
SRAM?
I can
SRAM?
go
I like
on
that.
and on.
89.
Durace.
DA?
Oh, Jeremy. Yeah.
Oh, Dirachi.
Jeremy, how do you pronounce it?
Are we going to go to the Italian pronunciations of everything?
Dirachi.
I had somebody say, yeah, I ride a Giant. That's giant.
That's
That
charming,
brand is
though. That's
giant.
actually charming.
No,
I don't know why.
that's somebody that says Target.
Yeah.
It's me. Wait a minute. Shut up.
Jeremy.
Giant.
Rule 89. Just pronounce it correctly.
But I'll say, Dirace, Bon Trajet.
Greg?
All
Shut
these
up.
have their
Bon
place.
Trajet. Shut up.
I am very confident in my
Keith Bon
voluminity.
Trajet.
I think we all agree to Rule 68 as being the most important thing on the list of rules. Rides are measured in quality, not quantity. Right, Mike?
How do we define quality?
Which is directly relative to the luxury of my waistline. Because when I don't have very quantitative rides, I tend to go up a size. Just saying.
You could go out every day and do 30 miles at the end of the workday, and you can bang those out. Will you remember any of them?
No.
Probably not. But quality. Tell us about quality, TC.
Quality comes to, from a yoga perspective, what was your intention for that ride? If it's to ride that 30 miles as hard as possible and you just gave everything out there, yeah, you can remember that. And that's a good qualitative ride.
I stopped and did an impromptu photo shoot the first time I hit 150 miles in a week commuting to work. I literally just stopped in the middle of Bussy Woods, pushed my bike into the field and went, scruffed up my hair and took a photo. Like, I just did it. It's a huge accomplishment. So
Yeah.
I think quantity does make quality sometimes.
Well, I will say, though, my first ever gravel race, 32 miles. That was quality.
Yeah. Some of my most quality rides are riding chairlifts, where I didn't pedal.
Oh.
I just descended for 6 miles or 5
You
miles
didn't
or
just
so.
descend. You defied Earth for at least a few
Just
miles.
sent it.
Earth's just like, I'm ready to headbutt you
And I
when
mean-
you are.
I've got this great 2-inch long scar on my shin right now as a reminder of a really great ride that I had in Grand Targhee.
Yeah, by the way, that was really gross watching that regrow.
I'm sure it was, yeah.
With road cycling, if you're going to practice your descending, it doesn't hurt to get the climbing miles going back up the mountain. But mountain bikers are like, dude, let's chill at a chairlift.
Just send it.
So those have been some of the amazing voluminity. I can't pronounce it. Someone else do it right. So I follow.
Illuminati.
And what is that?
Illuminati.
Rule 68, was it?
Illuminati.
Illuminati.
Well, you know what I'm ready for, though?
No.
I'm ready for a tale of triumph and woe.
This time, I want to talk about some crazy fans. The story takes place on the climb to the Puy de Dôme at the Tour de France back in 1975. As the great Eddie Merckx was climbing this historic route, a crazed fan stepped out and punched Eddie in the stomach. The assailant said it was an accident and he was pushed, but the people that surrounded him, awaiting the police, thought differently. In the end, Eddie could not win a record 6 Tour de France's or the stage for the day. They also state that this is where his career started to slide, and he never raced like his nickname, the Cannibal, ever again.
So, guys, that has been some of the rules. You shouldn't take them too seriously.
Wait, no! Hey, John, let go! No. There is still one more important rule
There
that needs to be
can't
said.
be. The last one was 68.
Literally the most important rule
What?
for all 4 of us. But I'm
Wait, there's 5 of us. You're leaving out Mike Nichols, a sponsored rider with the Trail Hoppin' Brewery tour
He
coming up
always leaves
soon.
me out.
What do you have to interrupt here with, Gerg?
You know what I got? You know what I got?
What?
Support your local bike shop. Rule
You know-
58. Argue against me.
No,
Argue
actually-
against me.
Yeah.
No, I
Support
don't
your
think
local
anyone
bike shop.
can be.
Real
Yeah.
important.
No.
Because, I mean, it's so easy to jump on Amazon to just buy some parts.
It is.
Buy a quick derailleur. Buy a brake. Buy whatever you might need. But at the end of the day, when you need maintenance, and if you don't know how to do that, you're going to need that local
And
bike
if you're
shop.
buying a front derailleur, is it a top pull, bottom pull, top swing, bottom swing?
What's-
And
is
this
it
is-
a 31, 28.6, or 34.9?
Okay.
Because-
Is it direct
we
mount?
got it. We got it.
Is
Because
it,
honestly-
is it,
from
is it
now.
a high direct mount? Is
Because-
it low direct mount? Is it mid direct mount?
Now, you say you know the clearance
Will
for your
someone
tire.
unplug
Fractional or decimal?
Will someone unplug TC real quick?
Because front derailleurs are the worst.
because ultimately, at the end of the day, what you need to do is support your bike shop, whether it's Crank Revolution or whoever it is in your area. You want to make sure that you're buying your tubes from them at the very least, your lights from them, nutrition, because without them, None of this is truly possible.
Well, and I don't think you're going to get the type of information you can get from a seasoned mechanic from an Amazon support person.
What? Why is HR pulling me away?
That's Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos is pulling you
dude,
away.
you are marked. You're a marked man now. He's coming for you, bro.
You
Because,
just
yeah.
You
dissed
better
Amazon.
befriend Elon Musk.
You dissed Amazon. Are they now the non-sponsor sponsor?
Oh, no, I'm not even going to say a word against Amazon. This podcast will disappear because they own all the server farms in America. Just saying. Google got nothing on that. That is a great point. You have to support your local bike shop because that knowledge base that you want to draw from only exists in that retail store. It only does.
Yep.
And the knowledge is really what matters. So if you toss an extra $2 on a chain to them, you can have the conversations. I know in our bike shop that we're setting up, we have stools. You can have a coffee, sit down.
And we'll make you a coffee.
Yeah, we'll make it
you
with
a fancy, pretentious coffee.
with a weird
When you've got TC making your coffee, that's worth
with
the
some
extra
Breaking
few bucks.
Bad glassware and weird assembly.
With TC making your coffee, you can taste pretentious in your cup.
While you fix your bike. So that is going to wrap it up, though, guys. Don't take these rules too seriously, but do remember, get out there, talk to everyone at your local bike shop, talk to your friends, really ask those opinions. You can even do so on Reddit. I know I read a lot of Reddit for that.
But so yeah, as final thoughts go, Greg, that was touching.
That was for you.
And
that
that's,
brought tears to my eyes.
I mean, it's like, yes, I am currently a local bike shop owner. All of the knowledge, everything that I've done has been shaped from the lens of, 10 plus years in the bike industry and interacting with the other people in the shops and with riders, with all of you guys here. So I'm getting a little emotional here. This is different.
Well, I mean, sorry, we're going to drag out this last little bit. But I mean, how often after the season ended, I would hang out in the shop and literally just hear what you had to share. So that way I had that much more knowledge for next season.
Do you know what the most embarrassing part was? When you started showing up at the shop and selling bikes, even though you didn't work there. You'd walk in, I'd be like, "Oh, where'd my customer go?" They're talking
Greg's
to
taking care of
Greg.
him.
That's fine. But I felt perfectly confident, though, because what they learned from you was probably 87.2% right. That's probably metric. I'm not sure how percentages work in metric. But
Bless his heart.
I will guarantee
They
you.
go up to 120 because of the conversion.
But what they learned from you is what I hope our listeners do is there is a true passion there. The passion for cycling is something you only get from inside the bike shop.
I mean, it's like Greg said, just sitting and hanging out with us during the wintertime.
Yeah.
We have a lot more fun during the wintertime because we don't have to worry about
there's so many fun
a
games to
thousand
play.
different. I know, exactly.
Do you know what the best
ABCs
part of
bike brands? Oh, such a fun game.
Do you know what the best part of this new bike shop is? I remember when I used to visit UTC at the bike shop. I used to show up on my way home from my commute like 5 days a week.
Yep.
At some point, your store manager came up to me and goes, "Look, bro, you're destroying our IPTs, man. Items per transaction. So if you could buy
is the
3
problem.
items or sneak in past the sensor, it would be great." But that's the kind of support that we love. Those
and
are
that
the
was
people
the
we
problem
meet.
with a corporate-based, retail-based model of a bike shop.
Wasn't that the same
I would
manager that
disagree
almost
with
put
that.
an end to my cycling career over a tube?
Over a tube.
That's a different story for a different day. And he is a listener, by the way. So the reason the Rule 58 is so important, though, you have to remember, look at the UK. Evans Cyclery closed a lot of them. They were the big corporate shop. In America, we had Performance go away. The small mom and pops are still there. They have the knowledge. Let's not let all cycling bike shops go away. Let's just support them. Let's do awesome things together.
Yeah.
Should we make cycling great again?
Scoff. So though, there is an analogy though with the whole bookstore thing. So with Amazon coming up, the mega chains are the ones dying. It's the mom and pop shops that are actually thriving because they got a point of differentiation.
Oh, my friends, that has been another episode of the Crank Revolution podcast. First thing we'd like to say is thank you. Thanks for being our listeners and sharing the show with your friends. Leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts. We love the feedback. You can reach out to us by email at crankrevolutioncycling@gmail.com and find us on Facebook at Crank Revolution Media.